short you're about to go into is a lesson on the positive benefits of square, or what's called sometimes box breathing. There are going to be two parts to this. There's going to be the first part that's going to discuss the benefits of this and talk about why we're doing it. And the second part is going to be based on the meditation itself. Now, my suggestion for you is, after going through the audio, is apparently I was talking really stupid, like quiet. So what I'd recommend is that when the meditation starts, to put on some headphones. There's going to be a time link, probably about here-ish, up that way, maybe, I don't know. Yeah. Just look for that if you want to just go straight to the meditation. If you want to know more about the benefits of this, including the stress reduction and the other benefits altogether, please watch the whole video. So this is a good one to come back to regularly. There will be a playlist as well for all the interventions I do on this channel. So try that, try the container meditation, and anything else we put on here. So, all right, love you guys. Enjoy. Hey, everyone. So what I want to talk about tonight is just something very quick, very simple, that I want to offer to you guys, because I think it's actually really, really important. So you'll see this described in a lot of different places. It goes by different names, et cetera, et cetera. We're going to talk about what's called box breathing or square breathing. Found this really nice one in Medical News Today. Not sure if they're a completely legit site, but it seems like this goes along with what I know. Their description is as follows. Box breathing is a powerful yet simple relaxation technique that aims to return breathing to its normal rhythm. This breathing exercise may help clear the mind, relax the body, and improve focus. And they go into talking about how it can be useful for like concentration or recentering yourself. And we'll be going through this together in a little bit, but I just want you guys to see this. So one of the things that is really important is looking at why and how this works. It's a type of breath work that can shift your energy, connect you deeply to your body, calm your nervous system, decrease stress. It's also called box breathing, four-part breathing. They talk about when to use this to calm yourself when dealing with stress, before you need to respond to high-stress situations, when trying to sleep, when to reduce work stress, to reset your creative juices. I don't know if all of these things are perfectly researched on, but as far as reducing stress, changing things around depression, clearing your head, calming yourself down, all of these things are effective, all right? So I just want you guys to be aware of this practice because there's some really interesting stuff here. Here's what the research says. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of research specifically on box breathing, as this is a relatively new technique. However, there's quite a bit of research on breathing exercises in general and on paced breathing as well, which is a category of breathing exercises this would best fit. There is also research on visualization and meditation, of course. The practice of box breathing can facilitate both of these. For visualization, simply imagine that you are inflating or draining a balloon with each cycle. For example, for meditation, you can add affirmations at your breath. Here are some of the studies findings that may support the possible benefits of box breathing. 1. Research on deep breathing shows that it is useful not only for stress management, but also for reducing blood pressure and minimizing hypertension. Sweet. Studies have found that simple practices like breathing exercises are effective in reducing stress in everyday situations, like experiencing test anxiety, sometimes to a greater degree than more complex stress management techniques. Studies on transcendental meditation and mindfulness-based stress reduction, another form of meditation, have found that meditation, mantra-based or mindfulness-based, can both lead to decreasing of stress, anxiety, lower blood pressure, greater feelings of happiness, and reduced feelings of depression. While this isn't specific research on box breathing may be helpful for getting into a meditative state. So here's what what I'm going to assert. Box breathing is something I use with almost every client I work with, and the reason being is that it's incredibly helpful in dealing with depression, with anxiety. It allows you to sort of reset your system, calm you down. It's also what I would use in my Zen order. A lot of times when you're sitting there on the cushion for long periods of time, box breathing was one of the things we would do, or square breathing. So the reason for this is that it can absolutely get you into meditative states. And we'll talk about those more at another time. But as far as improving focus, as far as improving stress, I think all of these things are 100% true. I want to be very clear that square breathing would fall under what we would call in the literature focused attention meditation. Focused attention meditation, based on everything I could research. If you look at my thesis, it talks about the idea of using this to treat ADHD. We know focused attention meditation can affect stress, can affect PTSD, it can affect a lot of different things, and is incredibly great for just kind of resetting the body in a lot of ways. And I don't mean that in that sort of like overly naturalistic way, but in a very simple, if you're kind of like overwhelmed or overly overtaken by stress, this is a really good way to settle yourself down. That doesn't require any additional intervention. It doesn't require any additional nonsense. It's just do the thing, right? The reason why I suggest it to a lot of my clients is not only because it just works, but on top of it, I think there's a level of Vygotsky talked about the idea of in learning or in cognition scaffolding, the ability of like when you start teaching someone something, you start with lots of training wheels and then you slowly take them off. To me, meditation is really useful for this because what happens is that when you're in a situation that's fairly stressful or difficult, by practicing meditation on your own, by practicing mindfulness on your own, then when these stressful situations come up, you're more able to sort of control yourself and are more aware. The other part is that I think that these practices can build awareness. That is, you can notice little nuances in your feelings, your thoughts, your ways of being that I think are really important to recognize. Okay? By having, by having greater awareness, I think it makes it easier in personal work, that is therapy or any other kind of growth work, to be able to notice more specific things that are happening in the mind, things that are happening in the body. In a lot of types of work, especially in Gestalt and EMDR, things like that, bodily sensations and emotions are something you kind of focus on and get into. And a lot of times they're very, very subtle. Very, very subtle. So you have to be able to pay attention very, very effectively. So is this making sense to everyone? If so, what I'd like us to do is just a brief 5-minute window, maybe less, maybe 3 minutes, of square breathing. What I'm going to do with this video is that I'm going to put a little note at the beginning of it saying, hey, if you've already seen this video before, just go to this timestamp. All right, and that way people can just skip right to the meditation. But I want to make sure all of you are kind of tracking this, if it makes sense, okay? Okay. So while I wait for the chat to respond, there's always lag. So what we'll do is this. What I'd like everyone to do is just get into a comfortable position, get to a place where you're feeling pretty comfy. So we'll start this back at the beginning. This thing loops, which is pretty rad. I will put some of these links in the video. So what I'd like everyone to do is get comfortable, however you're sitting, if you're able to. If you just need to, sit down in a chair, on the floor. If you can't do this right now, that's okay. This is entirely voluntary. It's just something to do when you have time. You can even do this just standing there as long as you're stable. Okay, so I'm going to read off the instructions, and then we're going to use this video because it's very helpful to see a visual diagram. Okay. Step 1, slowly exhale. Sitting upright, slowly exhale through your mouth, getting all the oxygen out of your lungs. Focus on this intention and be conscious of what you're doing. Step 2, slowly inhale. Inhale slowly and deeply through your nose to the count of 4. In this step, count to 4 very slowly in your head. Feel the air fill your lungs, one section at a time, until your lungs are completely full and the air moves into your abdomen. Step 3, hold your breath. Hold your breath for another slow count of 4. Step 4, exhale again. Exhale through your mouth, the same slow count of 4, expelling all the air in your lungs and abdomen. Be conscious of the feeling of the air leaving your lungs. Step 5, hold your breath again for the same slow count of 4 before repeating this process. So those are the instructions. I'm going to read these again, and then we're going to go through the video, okay? Step 1, slowly exhale. Sitting upright, slowly exhale through your mouth, getting all of the oxygen out of your lungs. Focus on this intention and be conscious of what you are doing. Step 2, slowly inhale. Inhale slowly and deeply through your nose to the count of 4. In this step, count to 4 very slowly in your head. Feel the air fill your lungs one section at a time until your lungs are completely full and the air moves into your abdomen. Step 3, hold your breath. Hold your breath for another slow count of 4. Step 4, exhale again. Exhale through your mouth for the same slow count of 4, expelling the air from your lungs and abdomen. Be conscious of the feeling of the air leaving your lungs. Step 5, hold your breath again. Hold your breath for the same slow count of 4 before repeating this process. So the short version is, breathe in through your nose for the count of 4. Hold that breath for the count of 4. Exhale that breath through the mouth for the count of 4. Hold the exhalation for the count of 4 and keep going around. For those of you who need it, there's a visualization on the screen. I'm going to be starting it in 3, 2, 1. One last revolution. So just take a moment. Notice how you feel in your body. My recommendation for this practice is to do this 5 minutes a day, once per day. And if you find it to be comfortable and sustainable, that is, you're able to do it regularly without a lot of headache, then my suggestion would be to up it to 6 or 7 minutes, or maybe even 10. The ideal goal, based on the research that I did in my thesis, would be that using a practice like this for the maximum benefits before diminishing returns would be 30 minutes a day. I'm not expecting anyone to necessarily do that if they don't want to, but even just 5 minutes a day can be very helpful. So I will put this link for this video in the description of the video. And I hope to see you in the next one. If you want to donate, please donate to streamlabs.com/transgirltherapist/tip, or you become a patron at patreon.com/transgirltherapist. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe for the channel. I'll see you in the next one.